All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. We are live on YouTube right now. Today is a very special show, if you ask me. I think we have a very good topic today. Why is it important to plan for your career while you're in college? We have a special guest with us today, William. Go ahead and wave at the camera, William. Everybody can see you right now. We are going to be discussing this topic, and I think it's kind of a critical thing to start planning way in advance, right? Can you give us a little bit of insight on that, William?
Absolutely. If you don't mind, I would just like to introduce myself real quick. My name is William Jones. I'm the Director of Career Services here at Central Texas College. And Paul, I 100% agree. Preparing for your career is super important. I mean, it's the whole reason why any of us are here, quite literally, right? You're not doing all those assignments and projects and exams for nothing. The whole point is to learn something that you can use to make yourself much more attractive in the job market, to get that dream job so that you can take care of all of us old folks when we retire. So absolutely being prepared to enter the job market, because right now just graduating, having that fancy degree or that fancy diploma and certification, it's good, but it's only step one. So being prepared to take it to that next step is absolutely important. Absolutely. And thank you for having me. Thank you for welcoming me.
Hey, we appreciate you being here. I don't know how the job market compares to where it used to be, but even when I was coming out of college just about 6 years ago, because I was a non-traditional student, I went when I was 38, even in education, they considered it a very competitive market. And me being an older student, I believe that gave me the advantage of understanding the importance of doing these things, right? So for somebody who's, first time in college, may even be a non-traditional student, what do you think some of the challenges that they face, like as soon as they get into college, what do you think some of the misconceptions or challenges they face are? What are some of the things that even you guys are hearing as success coaches about some of the concerns that the students are having?
Well, as far as challenges that you face in college, I'm pretty sure you guys would probably be much more familiar with that than I would. But one thing I always tell the students that I work with is the hardest thing about coming to a college or going to college or starting college is how easy it is to quit. If you decide to get up and walk out right in the middle of one of your professor's lectures and never come back, he's not going to stop you. Your advisor isn't going to call you. The truancy officers aren't going to come chase your parents down. So staying focused and remembering what the end goal is, what your actual destination is, and making sure that you're keep coming back even when that class seems like it's too difficult. Keep coming back even though you get that professor that seems to hate you. Keep coming back even though your class starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and you don't really feel like getting up. To me, that's one of the biggest challenges of coming back to college, especially if you're a non-traditional student, because this is a completely different change to your routine. So staying focused and staying dedicated to why you originally decided to hit apply to CTC or whatever college you're attending, to me, that's one of the biggest challenges, at least I faced, because I was a non-traditional college student as well.
I agree, and I think understanding your why, understanding why am I doing this, especially as a non-traditional student, why am I doing this, and how do I stay focused knowing that I've got all these other things to do? And there's no one that's going to say, hey, Charlotte, you were not in class today. Why? So,
absolutely.
Just being accountable for yourself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's difficult.
So I wonder, do students understand that college is a networking opportunity, right? Your professors have been in the industry for years. So do they realize that making that connection with that professor could be the opportunity that they need to get into the next level as soon as they graduate, right? Because I know I networked with my professors from day one. I started to try to get, and in a smaller environment like this, you have that opportunity to get one-on-one with a professor a lot easier than some of these four-year universities. Before I chose the University of Mary Hardin Baylor, I actually visited like Texas A&M, UT, and some of the freshman level courses were auditorium courses. You know, there's 200 students in there, and I said to myself, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do what I know I need to do at this point to be able to be successful in a classroom that big. I just wonder if they see the networking opportunity. I mean, Jessica, you said you were a professor, you taught classes. Did you ever have, or did you ever think that you had students that were networking with you while in college?
At the undergraduate level, not so much, unless I was teaching an internship type course, and typically those were in the CATE programs, the Career and Technical Education programs. Those students are coming into trade programs, and as soon as they graduate, they have certifications, they have their degrees, they are ready to go to work, yes. If I had an undergraduate student, typically I would see an undergraduate student if they were requesting a letter of recommendation for a scholarship, but I would say the majority of that population would come from when I was teaching graduate level classes, students working on their master's degrees, then yes, I saw more of the networking. Who do you know? You know, can we meet? You know, can you do maybe a letter of recommendation for an actual career position I'm applying for? So I would say undergrad, typically not as, the population was not as great as if it were in a trade program, but trade programs, absolutely. It was because those professors, and like you said, professors, they are in any subject matter, you know, they've been in their industry for a long time, but when you're dealing with CATE programs, those professors have, and they're working in, and many of them are still working in those fields part-time when they're teaching full-time, so they do know a lot. So I would have to say truly on the career side, you know, as opposed to undergrad. But again, it does happen, but not as often, not until students are seniors. But even then, they're usually looking for letters of recommendation for scholarships at that time or going into grad school.
So based on that, would any of you sit down with a student and recommend start your networking even as a first-year college student? Would that be something that you believe is a priority for a student, or is just focusing mainly on those subjects first? Is that key, or is the networking aspect still an important key aspect of even a first year?
I mean, I think that your college professors are one of the most invaluable resources that you gain access to. Whenever I'm talking to a student specifically about putting together their resume or when they're entering the job market, you know, I say it in a joking manner, but if you're looking for a reference, just imagine if there was somebody you had access to in your industry that was such an expert in their industry that it's their job to teach other people how to do it. Mm-hmm. And every time I say that, they look at me and they put one and one together and they figure out, oh yeah, you know, this professor that I go see every other day isn't just some jerk that assigns me homework, right? Mm-hmm. This is an expert in their field. This is somebody that was so passionate in their field, they decided to come back and teach. And you know, to be completely transparent, nobody becomes a teacher to become wealthy. Nobody becomes a professor to become famous, right? They do it because it's something that they're really, really passionate about. And what you'll find is if you have that professor, no matter how scary they seem or how off-putting they seem, if you come to them and let them know this is something that you're really passionate about, this is something that you're really interested in, you'll find that most of them, if they have the time, will sit down and give you that insight that nobody, no book, no website, no social media influencer, not even an advisor like myself can really give you. So if you can find a way to tap into that, that's just as valuable as the money that you're spending on tuition or paying for books or anything else. And if you can find a way to tap into that, I strongly recommend, if you aren't doing that already, if you have that professor that is someone that you admire, somebody whose class that you're performing well in, now is the time to sit down or shoot them an email and let them know, hey, when are your office hours? Let me come in and chat with you. Even if you've already graduated, this is a great time to get that career industry insight that you're only going to get from somebody who's actually been in it. that nobody else can give you. So 100%, I think your professors are an invaluable asset that you should definitely be leveraging.
So I just want to, you had mentioned the term internship, right? So for first-time college students, they may not know what that means, right? How valuable do you think a program with an internship is over one that maybe doesn't offer an internship? Is there an advantage to taking that internship as opposed to actually trying to just hit the workforce?
I think that, many programs do have internships built in, but some programs do not have internships built in. It doesn't mean that it's any less than maybe a program that does have one. Those internships are invaluable, and many students that are in a program, whether it's certification or a degree program, whether it's undergrad or grad school that has an internship, oftentimes many of those internships will lead right into an actual position. It could be an entry-level position. Those are invaluable. But let's say you have an undergraduate student that may be doing an undergrad degree, 2-year, 4-year in liberal arts. It doesn't mean that while they're in college, in any one of those levels, that while they're in college, that they cannot find a position in their career field starting as early when they walk in that door as a freshman. And so when you're working with students and you're helping them, with career services, it is, have you thought about looking for maybe a part-time job, while you're in college, and looking for a part-time job in your career field, because it's not technically an internship, if you will, but again, you're getting that real-world experience. But to answer your question, yes, internships they are invaluable, but it's no less than someone that may be in a degree program that doesn't have one.
Yeah, both of my kids had internships and were offered positions. So, yeah, I think it's very valuable.
Absolutely. Internships are definitely the key to getting into the career field that you're wanting. But I heard something with the high school counselor, and it was when my youngest was in high school. And the counselor said, don't wait for those internships. But sometimes when you start college, especially when you're starting out as a freshman, or when you're considering which college to go to, when you're starting to think about the degree that you even want to go into, try things out during the summer, like summer camps. So try those hats on just to see what these areas look like, what jobs are available in that career field, so that when you start college, you're not so brand new. You have a field, what is offered in that field, an engineering camp, an accounting camp, a math camp.
Absolutely.
Some of these camps early on. And then once you get into college, start looking for internships, start networking. Networking, I think, is so valuable. And we need to teach and start really chatting early on about networking opportunities. Talk to the professors, their career centers early on. I have had several students to say, when I try to make a referral to you, William, in your area, oh, it's too soon. I don't have a resume. I don't have any work experience. I think there's, even if it's a resume that just has your education, that's a start. So just start, annotating all those little points, and early on, just start asking the questions and get in there with the professors. The professors are a true look of, what your career field could look like.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, as far as, that the concern of starting too early, or even I've heard the reverse, that it's too late for me. I'm in my 40s, my 50s, and I've been doing this one thing for X amount of years. But I'm really big on analogies. I think they help convey really complex points really easily. So the analogy that I use is, when you're out there looking for work, or you're out there trying to make that career switch, you have to get your tool belt, right? So you have your tool belt, and each pocket is going to have a certain tool that's going to help you. And internships is one of those pockets, right? If we can find ways to get that experience before we're out there actually looking for work, that's something that's going to be an invaluable tool when you're out there trying to look for work as far as marketing yourself. Before I came here, I actually worked in a nursing department at another school. I spent a few years there, and something that stood out to me with nursing students, not just at that school, this is something you'll find universal in nursing schools, is that part of their curriculum is, of course, going to class and doing the same things that any traditional college student would do. But then they also have a separate course that they call their clinicals, where they're literally going into the hospitals, they're going into the nursing homes, and they're actually working a full nursing shift, and they're actually working with professionals in the field. And they look at it as a course, which technically it is, but when you really think about it, it's an internship. And when you look at the hiring rates of nursing school students, you'll find that a lot of nursing school students have jobs before they even graduate. A lot of nursing school students will tell you the whole process of them looking for work is flipped on its head. They're not really out there looking for work as much as they have employers tracking them down saying, hey, I know you're about to graduate, or I know you just graduated last week. Why don't you come apply over here? Hey, I know you just worked this shift with us last week. Why don't you go talk to my manager? I think I'm going to make a recommendation for you. So, of course, not every program gives you that direct access, but anything you can do to mimic that will give you that same level of success, that same advantage. I'm really big on leverage when you're out there looking for work. Anything you can do to leverage yourself is not only just going to give you that those additional opportunities as far as finding work, but then once you do find that job opportunity, you want to make sure that you're leveraging yourself so that you're not going to bring me in at the base salary, right? You're going to bring me in because I have this experience leveraged over somebody who's coming in with no experience or with nothing to offer. So I'm really big on that. Anything you can do, whether it be internships, apprenticeships, any type of additional certifications you can get, that's just going to be leveraged. So that way, when you're out there marketing yourself, you're going to be that much more attractive. And then once they do have their eyes on you, you have something more to offer than just saying, well, we'd like you to start on Monday.
Mm-hmm. And can I ask a question? So would you agree that early on students need to start coming out of their shell, like once they come into high school, start breaking out of that shell so that they learn how to have conversations? Because I wholeheartedly believe that, because how can you market yourself? How can you start asking about internships, about summer camps, if you don't have a voice, if you haven't had those conversations, if you don't know how to have those conversations? So I think we need to be aware that sometimes students, they have not come out of their shell, and especially as they start with us, having them to open up to us and start expressing the things that they like and the things that they're looking into, knowing their why so that they can move forward. And
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. To me, the way I look at when you're going out there looking for work or trying to find a new job or looking to get a promotion at your current job, or if you're switching careers, I always call the career search process just that. It's a process. It's something that never stops. And
it's a full-time job, looking for a job.
Absolutely. And really, to be honest with you, it not only does it never stop, there's never really a clear starting point either. So that's why the sooner you can get started establishing those things, the better, right? And I know for some of us, me myself, I'm an introvert, and I'm not going to be the one in the middle of the crowd gathering everybody's attention. That's just not my personality. So for folks in that situation that are struggling with, speaking out and coming out there and putting themselves out there, what you have to do is you kind of have to advocate for yourself. That's one of the hardest challenges I had to learn when I first graduated from high school and I was making that transition into college, was I had to go to the advisor's office to make sure that my degree plan was correct. I had to go to the financial aid office to make sure everything was in order. If my instructor assigned an assignment and I didn't understand it, it was on me to seek that understanding. And when you're going out there looking for work, whether that's sitting down in an interview, I have to make sure that interviewer knows what my qualifications are. I have to go out there and know that this company has a position that I'm qualified for, and they have a career fair on this date. They're not going to reach out to me. They're not going to come find me. So if you don't advocate for yourself, you'd be hard pressed to find people who will. It's kind of that thing where you have to be your own best friend. If you have a really good best friend, your best friend will tell people how wonderful you are, how great you are. They'll try and get you connected with this person and that person, bring you to this social event, but then you don't do that for yourself, right? And so you have to learn to advocate for yourself, even if that's not your personality, or even if you are a little bit more closed off, right? You can find a way to compartmentalize it, right? Maybe I can go out there and, talk to this employer, go to this job fair, go to this recruiter and chat with them, and then I'll lock myself in my room for the rest of the night, right? But as far as looking for those things, you have to find a way to advocate for yourself, because if you don't, nobody will.
So there are a few things that I caught from that conversation. One, don't start too late. Is there really a such thing as a too early? Two, network the best that you can in any format that you can, right?
Absolutely.
So one thing that you mentioned, though, and I know it's a service that we provide, and I don't think it's something that students take enough advantage of here at this college, is you are active with career fairs.
Yes, sir.
And but when I mention it to students who are first time in college, they're like, "Oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready." And I try to tell them often, you should still go and see who's there. Absolutely. You should at least get your face out there. Let them know that you're breaking into the market, and if you go to a couple career fairs and they see you over and over and you're just talking to them, asking them basic knowledge questions about the industry, you're going to show them that you have the desire to actually be a successful member of that industry. So, do you have a career fair plan coming up anytime soon? Would you recommend that they go? What do you got on that front?
Absolutely. This time of year around springtime, when it starts to get a little bit warmer, when colleges start to have their graduation ceremonies, this is the prime time for recruiting. This is where you're going to see a lot of career fairs. There's actually there was just one yesterday on Fort Hood. There's a virtual one today, and there's another one coming up on the 28th of May at the McLennan Workforce Center in Waco. There's going to be a career fair there as well. So, we have the internet that's there available for us to use. You should always be searching for career fairs in your area, and you should always be looking to put yourself out there. Again, going back to my analogies, if my goal is to be in the NBA, I'm not going to start my preparation to join the NBA at an NBA tryout, right? I'm going to start in the Pee Wee League. I'm going to then go to middle school. I'm going to go to be on my varsity team, and then I'm going to go to college and show that my skills are working there as well. And with a job fair or with really anything else, I look at it the same way. If I know that eventually I'm coming to college to step into this career, then what I would like to do is go to a job fair and just kind of look around. Sometimes you can go to a job fair and not even talk to anybody. As silly as that sounds, by doing that, you can kind of see how things work. You can see what type of employers are there. A lot of employers, especially in this area, are really hard to find, right? You will hear about people who work for this company or this company, but then you don't really know what they are. Well, the way that you find them are by going to these hiring events. Sometimes just collecting business cards can be a really valuable resource, because now when I'm going out there looking for work, I can have an idea of what I'm looking for. But if I never start to do that, the very first time I go to a career fair is when I'm looking for a job, or worst, if the very first time I go to a career fair is when I need a job,
It's overwhelming.
I've lost my leverage, right?
Well, and I don't think the younger generation grasps the concept of interview, right? Yes, the company is interviewing you. That is true. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you are interviewing that company. Based on the questions that they're asking, you should be able to determine whether or not yes, this is the job for me. This is the job for me. I think, and I just experienced this with my middle son, who is trying to find another job right now. He went to an interview and he's like, oh, I'm going to call him back and I'm going to take it. I said, why? Because you need a job or because you want that job? I said, you don't want to get into a position that in a week you're ready to go, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm going to find another job. You don't want to do that, And I think those career fairs, just walking around listening to the companies talk to candidates that they're talking to, you can understand, okay, that's a company I could probably find myself with.
Right.
No, maybe not so much that one. Because they are trying to actively recruit candidates at that point. It's not so much here, let me ask you these questions and how well do you fit into my company. It's just let me get you interested in my company. So that's the first part of the interview process, essentially, right? So what do you think? I've been to several career fairs and I've also interviewed several students in my office, and I could talk about some of the things that I would consider mistakes that are made by students. What do you think some of the big mistakes are that are made by students, whether going to a career fair, going to an interview, or even going to talk to their professor? What do you think some of those mistakes are?
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, I want to give my disclaimer. This is the same disclaimer I give to any student I work with on a one-on-one basis. There is no one thing you can or cannot do that will either guarantee you success or not guarantee you success. There are certain things that may work for Charlotte that won't work for me. There may be certain situations where there's certain things that Jessica does that works in this situation, but doesn't work in that situation. So I always want to give that disclaimer first. That being said, to be honest with you, when you realize that, then you understand there isn't a specific thing that you need to be doing to necessarily guarantee success or not success. But to actually answer your question, I have found that the majority of, I'm using air quotes here for those of you who can't see me, mistakes that people make, whether they're looking for a job, whether they're going to career fairs, or definitely when they're in an interview, the majority of mistakes can be kind of traced right back down to your nerves, right back down to your mental talk, the way that you talk to yourself. It's this feeling that you are saying something wrong, or you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or something is above you. If you can find a healthy way to deal with that, deal with your nerves, deal with that stress, when you go into that interview, if you know that you're nervous and you can find a healthy way to deal with those nerves, you'll find now you're not stuttering over those questions like you were before. You'll find, even if I am not able to answer a question right away, I can calm myself down, put my thoughts together, and maybe come up with an answer that does work. So I have found that if you can be confident in what it is that you have to offer, you can be confident in your qualifications, and then maybe just do something as simple as just stopping, taking a moment, and just take a breath.
So I personally know somebody who interviews regularly. Mm-hmm. There seems to be some trends with the younger generations that seem to be concerning to me. And one of those is there seems to be a trend of the younger generation showing up at interviews with their mom or dad.
Okay. I've seen that.
Okay. So, it's interesting to me. One thing I was always told, and even before I got out of the military, one of my first sergeants told me, he said, Esper, when you go to an interview, you have to dress like you've already got the job. You have to dress like you are the boss. So I took that to heart, and I'm always dressing that way, no matter what interview I'm going to. If I was going to McDonald's, I would still be dressed in a suit and tie.
Absolutely.
Right? But it seems, and I've heard multiple stories of this, showing up in halter tops or shorty shorts or pajama pants with bunny slippers. These are all real
all things
stories.
I wish I was wearing now.
Real. Don't know about the halter top. Okay. So anyway, what I'm saying is there starting to be a shift with this whole societal mindset that you have to accept me now for who I am. I don't need to conform to who you want me to be. Is that a real issue that this younger generation is facing? Because I hear these younger kids saying, I can't get a job, but they've got, no offense to anybody, 27 million piercings in their face.
Right.
And they are trying to get a job at a bank. I don't see that happening, but when I say that, even my own kids say, well, that's old school mentality. But is it really old school mentality? That's my question.
Well, I'm sorry, where are you going?
No, yeah, you go first.
Okay.
I'll come back to you.
What I would like to do is address the overall point as far as this being a new trend that is unique to the younger generation, and then address why it is something that should be important. I think just like with a lot of things that happen now as opposed to maybe even 10, 20 years ago, things are way more visible now than they were before. That could be because of the internet, because of social media. We just have access to things and to people much more now than we did before. So what I think is that, is there a problem with folks showing up to interviews in an unprofessional manner today? Yes. Is it something that was an issue 30 years ago? Yes. You just didn't hear about it, right? But the reason why that should be something that is always important to us is because whether or not we want to admit it, physical appearance matters. Not just in a way where we're wagging our finger at you saying that you're supposed to dress professional. But again, to use my analogy, if I'm going to a 5-star restaurant and I show up to that restaurant and my waiter is wearing the bunny slippers, the pajama pants, the halter top, I'm not going to feel comfortable paying $70 for a steak. And you wouldn't either, right? It doesn't matter how good the steak is. It doesn't even matter how good their service is. Just that appearance just is going to throw you off whether or not you want to admit it or not. Even on a subconscious level, it's just not going to let you take them as seriously as you would someone in another place. If you went to go get a tattoo and your tattoo artist had no tattoos and was dressed like I am right now, you probably wouldn't feel too comfortable getting that tattoo, right? So we always want to make sure that we understand that when we're going to these places, to these job fairs, to these job interviews, that people are looking at your qualifications, but they're looking at you too. And even if they try their best not to let their judgment get into the way, your subconscious is very, very powerful. And if you can find ways to get rid of hurdles that can get in the way of you achieving those goals, even those subconscious ones, why not, is what I say. Is if you can find a way to prevent tripping over something that can get in the way, even if you don't think it's something that's super important, it's definitely something to at least consider. So yes, I say there's nothing wrong with being an individual and wanting people to see you for who you are, but you have to understand that there are 8 billion individuals who want to be seen the way that they are, and we can't just assume that people can see through or are coming to a situation with the same background that we are. So absolutely, you should always be cognizant of that. And even though it sounds like old people advice, yes, putting on a collared shirt when you're going to a job interview, that's important. Absolutely. I cut you off, Charlotte. Go ahead.
I think there's definitely a shift in this culture, in this generation. And I've said this before. I was at a conference last summer, and a major corporation was given a presentation, and this individual says that in her organization, what they have done, they've hired someone to teach business etiquette, and that includes how you dining etiquette. It includes how you dress, how you talk, knowing the things to do, but they're teaching how they want their new hires to act and to interact at their organization. What does business casual look like?
Right.
So someone may say business casual is jeans and a t-shirt, but if you're at a major corporation, business casual may not be jeans and a t-shirt. So teaching the individuals, the new hires, what is expected at, in this organization. So I see that happening more often. I'm hearing that happening because they don't know. This generation, their definition of things is much different from when we grew up.
Absolutely.
So we wouldn't dare think of wearing jeans and a t-shirt to a job back then.
Right.
But now it's accepted on Fridays. On Fridays.
Yeah, Fridays only.
Yeah, Fridays only.
Although there's supposed to be an important announcement coming from HR. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Well, just to kind of piggyback on that, I think a lot of where that's coming from is about 15 years ago in the job market. What we saw was employers put a huge emphasis on people having having these hard skills. And when I say hard skills, what I'm referring to are those technical skills. So if you are a computer programmer, it's going to be the things that you're doing with the computer. If you are a medical professional, it's going to be those medical procedures that you know how to do. And so about 15, 20 years ago, especially in the tech field, there was a huge emphasis placed on people who can do the thing, right? If you have the skill to do the thing, then we kind of put all those other things to the side.
Right.
And now what we're seeing, and especially after COVID, it kind of fast forwarded this, is that a lot of companies saw that they kind of leaned too far into that. And now what you see, a lot of companies are wanting students, they want you to still have those hard skills, but now they also want you to have those soft skills. And the soft skills are those things that are a little bit more intangible, a little bit harder to put your finger on. Those are going to be things like dressing professionally, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to understand if you have a customer that's rude or disrespectful, you can't just punch them in the face, right? These are soft skills that a lot of emphasis has been taken off of over the last few years, and now that things have shifted, it's kind of neck breaking to kind of go back to that. And just like you said, for folks who grew up in that generation, the idea of doing those things is just foreign, and so we have to kind of balance both. We definitely want to have those technical skills, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're placing an emphasis on those soft skills as well. So I agree 100%.
I think one of the biggest soft skills that college gives you the perfect opportunity to work on is your time management. Right. A lot of people don't realize. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that when you get into a career, time management is is your go-to. Right. We all have students that we see all the time, and yeah, we have a schedule and a calendar that's provided to us by software or whatever, but it's still a calendar where everything is listed, and we're still going and visiting it every day. We're still making sure that nothing's overlapping. We're making sure that time is allotted effectively, and none of us are going, oh, well, I guess I'll see that student tomorrow. Right. I'll see them next week. We'll just wait. It's not important, right? We're not doing that, right? But as a college student, and I've talked to several students in my office about this, it's easy, especially in an online learning environment, to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it the next day. And
procrastination.
Yeah. And I know I think Tammy did the video where she specifically talked about the ability to say no, right? To family, friends. Hey, we're going to the movies. You want to go? No, I set time aside to really study this material. I need to make sure I'm sticking to it. Accountability is a huge, huge deal, right? But I think the hardest thing to do is tell ourselves no.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Right? Because I want to keep watching this. I want to binge watch this show, but no, I can't do it. And that's the hardest thing, holding ourselves accountable. So soft skills, I agree with you, are probably the most important thing. And I think one of the most important ones for me that even I had to take a long time to learn to do effectively was time management. Because without that, I would not be successful.
I couldn't agree more. Time management is it's one of those things that kind of lurks in the background, and it's one of those skills that you really only notice when you're lacking it. And it's one of those things that you always want to make sure that you're staying on top of. And to me, an aspect of time management that often gets overlooked when you're talking about looking for your career is the way you manage your time while you're looking for jobs. I think we all know people who work so hard to find a job that they end up not finding one, right? Whenever I'm giving advice on ways to manage your time when you're looking for work, I think you have to build in that time, just like you were saying, to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you're doing what needs to be done. But I think a lot of times what can end up happening is you put so much focus on doing what you're supposed to do, you forget that you're a human, right? And so, yes, if you get invited to go to the movies or out partying with your friends, there are times where you have to say no. But there are times when you need to say yes. There are times when you need to say, I've done what I can. I've made my progress up to this point, and I'm going to put this on pause, and I'm going to live my life, and then I'm going to come back to it and get right back after it. Time management, the concept of it, a lot of people think it's just staying focused on work, staying focused on what you're supposed to do. But the problem with that is if you end up doing that, you can end up burning yourself out, and ironically end up becoming less productive than if you would just insert a break here, insert a pause here, maybe take time to just even think back on how things went. I remember in the military, whenever we had any type of event or any type of action that we took, part of that process was planning for it, putting it into action, and then reviewing that action. And a lot of times we don't do that. We will say, this is what we want to do. We'll plan to do it. We'll do it. It falls apart. And then we just do it again. Right? There's nothing wrong with stopping, taking a moment to say, hey, this didn't work the way I wanted it to. Let me figure out why. Or this did work the way I wanted it to. Let me find ways to continue doing those things so that I can continue that success as well.
Not the after-action report.
Yeah, that's exactly that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I wonder though if today's society is all about instant gratification, right? And is there really any gratification in time management? No, because you're creating a calendar and you're going through it, but do you really feel like I accomplished something by doing this? No, you effectively did, but do you really think back and say, wow, I really accomplished something by doing it? No, another week done. Next Monday I come back, we do it all again, So there's no instant gratification to it. It seems like everything nowadays really has to have that instant gratification component to it. And it seems like there's just none of that in there. So I wonder if that's why students stray so far from it, why people nowadays stray so far from time management. Really, all of us should be managing our days effectively.
Right.
If she's watching, she'll kill me for saying this, but my wife is what I call an over planner. Like she has her iPad and her phone, and she has all these things in there. She's got this app, and I'm like that thing is like your nightmare because it's like it's constantly bing, bing, like all these reminders, but she always knows what's going on, and I do plan things, but not to the extent she does. And I'm going to be honest, I still find myself going, oh man, I meant to do that and I didn't do it. Right.
So I think it's different for everyone. How you manage it.
Absolutely.
It's definitely different.
But at the end of the day, I'm still holding myself accountable and saying, man, I really should have gotten that done. And, there are certain tasks that, as a result of my PTSD, I can't go to sleep until I complete it. Right.
Right.
But the time management aspect is going to be super key, I think, to our students' success and moving forward. So.
Absolutely. And I think you hinted on it there as well. And Charlotte did too, that a lot of these soft skills are on a spectrum. So there isn't just one way to do time management. And time management may mean something different to Jessica than it may mean to Tammy or myself. So I know for a fact that if you give me the option to sit down on my couch and binge the latest show on Netflix, I will do it. So if I'm managing my time, I have to build some time in my schedule to just do nothing. Because if I don't, my mind will take over and I will do it anyway, and I will do it to an extreme level where I don't get anything done. Whereas there are people, maybe like your wife, who have the opposite problem, where she can just stay on task with so many things that she can plan everything out. And what I would encourage anybody listening, or any of our students out there to remember, is that you can find your own place in that spectrum. And whatever time management means for you, as long as you're holding yourself accountable, like you mentioned, and you are finding ways to be productive, that's what matters. Not necessarily that your schedule looks like this person's schedule, looks like that person's schedule, or maybe you don't need to plan your lunch on Microsoft Outlook, but maybe your friend does, and that's perfectly fine. Finding something that works for you. And what you will find is, you are right that instant gratification may be missing, but what you'll find is, by doing that, you will find more opportunities to have that instant gratification from other things. So the fact that I build that time in my schedule, whether it is to just go spend time with my family, whether it is to hang out with my friends, or just to stare at the TV for a couple of hours, the fact that I've planned that into my schedule gives me that gratification to know, yes, I can watch this show and not do anything for a couple of hours, but my day is still on track. And that's gratifying to me, as opposed to feeling as though I've wasted a whole day not doing anything, or on the opposite end, feeling as though I'm just running from here, to this meeting, to this task, to this event, to this event. And then I'm home and I'm just ragged, and I have no energy for anybody or anything else. So being able to find what works best for you is the most important thing.
Nice. That being said, so that wonderful music, my friend William, is our game time music.
Okay.
So today we're going to be playing a fun game called Gen Z Said What? Okay. So basically, I'm going to give you a statistic and something that they said. You're going to try to guess what that actually was. Okay. Now, just so you're introduced to it, you're going to hear this. That is your think time. Okay. Nobody talks during think time. No cheating, Jessica.
Not cheating.
And if you think you got it, you can raise your hand and let me know, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Are we competing against each other?
Okay. All right. So.
All right. I like this. I'm competitive.
I'm going to give you an example question, just so you get the grasp of it. Okay. A survey found that 37% of Gen Z believes they could be famous doing this.
Oh, I can raise my hand? Okay.
Okay. I think Tammy put her hand up first. What do you think?
Doing videos or podcasts on YouTube.
Not YouTube, but TikTok, but close enough.
I would say
I was going to say influencer. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Right?
I would have accepted that answer, okay? Everybody got the grasp?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Next one. 1 in 5 Gen Zers admit they have never, ever used this common household item.
Never mind.
I could name several.
Common.
Okay, I think Miss Charlotte, I think your hand went up first.
A broom.
Oh, no.
Okay, William, you had your hand up. What do we got?
I'm going to go with a house phone.
That was mine.
It's probably a lot higher with the house phone. But
Yeah, that's
the
probably a
actual
little
answer
low.
they gave was can opener.
I was going to say actually a toaster.
Can opener.
Oh, wow. A can opener?
Yeah.
Well,
can
most
opener.
cans now have the little
Flip to
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so 15% of Gen Z say they have no idea how to use this old school tech. 15%.
That could be so many things. Oh, man. I want to use the same answer almost.
Okay, Tammy put her hand up. What do you think, Tammy?
A typewriter.
That's a good guess. That was a good
Jessica.
guess.
Household telephone?
Anybody else got an answer?
Can I throw out a fax machine? Hey,
Wow. Way to
Hey,
go.
look at that. William is on top of it. All right.
Wow.
All right. Who's on it, doggone it? Okay, here we go. So the next one, 12% of Gen Z believes this emoji means somebody is mad.
well, I guess it's not the obvious ones, right?
Yeah, right? Because the red face.
Anybody got an answer? Raise your hand.
I'll just say, is it the red face, the devil face? No.
Wow.
Oh, man. I'm not an emoji guy. I never have been.
Okay, so 12% believe the thumbs up is a mad symbol.
Like a passive aggressive
Yeah.
type. Oh, okay. That makes
Okay,
sense.
whatever. Yeah, got it.
Oh, okay.
I think I use it that way
Sarcastically.
unknowingly.
Okay,
And I think I so live with
25% of Gen Z have done this in the middle of the night.
That could be dangerous.
Miss Jessica.
Play video games?
I think the statistic would be a lot higher than that.
I'm going to go with doom scrolling on social media. Man, I guess it's just me.
Miss Charlotte.
Snuck out of the house.
That was my answer.
Our students are well behaved. Thank you. They would never.
25% of Gen Z admit to ordering Uber in the middle of the night.
You know what it is? I live way out in the country and there's no light. So as soon as the sun goes down, I don't order delivery because they'll think I'm a serial killer. So I didn't even think about that.
In the middle of
Okay.
Uber?
Uber?
So,
But you said Uber, not
DoorDash.
not DoorDash.
said Uber. So I guess
Where are you
Uber
going?
Eats. I don't
So
know.
that is sneaking out of the house. Where are you going?
I guess I just haven't had breakfast.
No, I was
I don't
going
know.
to say
I
it
was,
could
reminded.
be.
I was thinking along the lines of Uber Eats.
Yeah, me
but-
too. I'm
Me
thinking
too.
food. Yeah.
But I haven't had
Because
breakfast
they're ordering
yet. So that
food
could
in
be
the middle of
why.
the night. They're not going to get up and cook anything.
Yeah,
They're going over
but
food.
they're
Yeah.
ordering food because they're playing video games.
Yes.
Yes.
True.
All right, so 18% of Gen Z said they would rather give this up than their phone for a week.
Oh, okay. I think I know.
Miss Jessica put her hand up first.
I'm going to say video games again. Wow. Yeah, they're not going to give up their phone.
William, your hand went up.
I'm going to say their TV.
I'm going to tell you right now, this one's going to shock you. Miss Charlotte,
It's not like
Driving their car keys.
a family member, is it?
Showering.
Whoa.
you know what? You are actually close,
Wow.
but they said they would give up their toothbrush for a week over their cell phone.
That's nasty.
See, I'm going to put those
Can you say
COVID
breath
screens
mints?
back up now, if that's what we're doing. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even fathom.
Okay, so 30% of Gen Z
Okay, that's a good number.
Mm-hmm.
says they have anxiety when this actually happens.
Oh, I think I got this one.
Well, I know Miss Jessica's hand went up first, so we'll start there around the table. Miss Jessica.
When they actually have to talk to someone, look somebody in the face. It's like actually speak.
I'm going to accept that, but it's close. But
Here's my
it's
answer. I think my
they
answer
get
is,
anxiety when somebody calls on the phone rather than text.
that was going to be
right.
my answer.
Really?
Okay, so
I will stare at my phone ring. I absolutely will.
Really?
I know people that
If
can't.
it's somebody I don't know, or if I'm, yeah.
okay, so 10% of Gen Z admit they have taken this to the beach. Oh, sorry. Hit the wrong button.
Oh, 10%.
10%. 10%. That was a preemptive because I think Tammy's going to get it wrong. No, let's go. What do you got?
Their phone.
That applies. That applies.
Okay.
That was my guess too, but
Yeah, that was
it would
gonna
be
be
more
mine.
than 10%.
Oh yeah. I would think
yeah.
almost 100% of them take their phone.
I would say a laptop.
Yeah.
A laptop.
Yeah.
Miss Charlotte, you have an answer?
You said take it to the beach.
Yeah, 10% have taken this to the beach.
Their parents.
Can you do that one twice?
Actually, do you have an answer, Miss Jessica?
Their pet?
10% of them say they have taken a ring light with them to the beach.
That makes sense.
It does.
That makes sense.
Because they're recording all the time.
That makes okay.
Okay, so, and I actually heard this response from one of my son's friends, and it kind of like hurt me to the core. But Gen Z refers to this 90s music band as dad music.
Oh, I'm not going to get this one.
I will tell you it's a rock band.
As dad music?
Oh, yeah. And it hurt my heart when I heard it. Everybody good?
I have no idea.
Nirvana.
Okay.
Yes, Miss
Did you see my
Jessica.
face?
That was my face. Yes.
Oh,
What?
Yeah. That is, according to Gen Z, dad music.
yeah.
Then I guess they don't get the message.
I guess they don't. Obviously, did you see my face? Like, what?
Okay, so
I need to
22%
make some
of
phone
Gen
calls.
Z have never bought this item that Gen X used daily.
Daily.
I haven't.
Any,
I don't know.
Miss Jessica, you think you got one? What?
Daily toothpaste?
No, that would be concerning too. But
That's a good answer considering what we heard earlier.
But toothbrush, that means
let's see, Miss Charlotte, you look like you about to spout something.
Got to be starting something. A comb?
Nah. Miss Tammy,
A pen or a pencil?
that leaves you, William. Any guesses?
I'm trying to think of what I use daily. A razor? Because I know beards are in. No? Okay.
Don't say underwear.
CD.
Oh, what?
Nobody buys CDs.
no.
No.
Not if unless we're collecting them, but I know. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Sign of the times. Oh my gosh.
40%
Ooh, that's high.
of Gen Z say they believe this career is the dream job.
Oh.
All right, Miss Jessica, you had your hand up first.
Influencer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They think
Kinda
that
scary,
is-
right?
It is. Like, that
Right.
is the one and only job of the future is influencer.
Okay. 1 in 4 Gen Zers say they have this as a pet.
1 in 4.
Scared.
Okay. Let's see here. I think, William, you had your hand up first.
Okay, so clearly it's not a dog or a cat. So I'm going to say like some kind of reptile or, yeah, some kind of.
Fantastic.
That's
what my
scary.
son
That's
has.
too many.
Yep. There we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is it, Tim?
He has 3.
3.
He has a snake, a leopard, gecko, and a tortoise.
Yeah. I don't do snakes. I love animals, but all snakes have to die.
See, kids, we call that the power of deduction. Okay, so our next one 35% of Gen Z say this is their biggest fear when it comes to dating.
I'm pretty sure I'm I'm good on this one.
All right, William, what do you got?
Rejection.
That is not the term they use.
Oh, it's the correct answer, just not
gotta-
the most correct.
You got to
answer.
remember, we're dealing with Gen Z, so I'm looking for the Gen Z answer. Miss Charlotte, your hand was up
Well,
next.
then what I was going to say was just way off then. So next.
All right, Jessica, what do you got?
I know what it is.
Ghosted?
Yeah,
Very good.
that's
They were ghosted. That's what their biggest fear is.
I think
Okay.
that's everybody, though.
Gen Z prefers to watch movies on this rather than their TV. Man, we got a lot of hands that went up fast. And because we haven't heard from her a lot today, I think I'm going to give Miss Tammy an opportunity to give it a shot.
I watched on their phone.
All right. See, I throw in easy ones. Okay. 20% of Gen Z have worn this to a formal event. And I also know interviews.
Oh, yeah.
We all know that one. Yeah, we all know that one.
No, see, you're taking my clue incorrectly. I don't think you're going to get this one right. Oh, Tammy put her hand.
Don't let him shake you. Don't let him. He's trying to trick us.
All right, Charlotte, we'll start with you.
Slippers.
T-shirt.
Wait, we'll go to William next.
Jeans.
Jessica.
Pajamas.
Is it a hat?
Can I
bet it's a
try
hat.
again? Sneakers.
That's what I thought.
Crocs.
Yes, because they're wearing them in school every day, all day. But they're starting to ban them because of safety, I think. They were kind of concerned about.
Bro, just flip that little thing and put them in sport mode. You
there you
good.
go.
Right? They're so cute.
They have some really
Yeah,
nice
you can
ones.
bedazzle them now. So, yes.
Charlotte's are going to be full of bling.
Yes, it.
I saw one that was shaped like the old school Batmobile. It was like $70, but
Do you, okay. So when Crocs first came out, do you know where they were sold at?
they were sold like in gas stations. Or,
The dollar store.
Yeah.
They were
Right.
sold until that movie came out.
What movie?
Dang, what's the title? I can't remember. But the producer wanted to find the most ridiculous pair of shoes because the movie was about the future and what people would be doing in the future. And it was a comedy movie. I can't remember what it's called right now. But they found Crocs
as a joke.
as a joke, and then they took off. So now instead of paying $1 for Crocs, you're paying 75.
67, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy, right?
hilarious.
Yeah. Tell me social media doesn't work. Okay. A survey found that this Gen Z uses this as a secret alarm clock.
Secret.
A secret alarm clock?
And then I saw the answer.
I'm scared.
Okay.
I'm going to take a guess.
Well, I'm confused.
All right,
'cause
Jessica, go ahead.
a secret alarm clock defeats the purpose of an alarm clock.
I say their parent.
That's all I
I know it was like their parent actually wakes them up.
Their pet.
You know what? I was thinking the same. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. They say they use their pet as an alarm clock.
I could have never done that because we both would be looking at each other at noon. Just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have straight rolled over and be like, bro, what time is it? Waiting for my dog to go, it's 11:30. All right.
Go.
1 in 3 Gen Zers say that this is their comfort food.
You said 1 in 3.
1 in 3 say this is their comfort food. Jessica, your hand was up first.
Takis.
William, your hand was up
This
next.
should span generations. It's pizza. That's the correct answer.
Now after that, I don't know now.
Exactly.
I'm serious.
Miss Charlotte or Tammy?
Oh. Ramen noodles.
That's comfort food?
Really?
That's what they
Yes.
call comfort food.
Yes.
See, they don't understand the definition of comfort food. Something
Guys,
that makes
you
you
have to do
feel
better.
uncomfortable
You have
should
to
not
do
be your
better.
comfort food.
You have to love yourselves better.
I would have thought ramen, but even back in the 80s, especially when all of us were in college, you had to we had to buy ramen sometimes, when things got hard.
No, but ramen is now, it's not just basic ramen. It's
Oh,
No,
like
they
now
throw all
have
kinds of
these-
stuff in
yeah,
there.
they have all these
Yeah.
huge ramen bowls.
Yeah, but
Yes.
see, this may be my old side talking, but when I eat ramen, I feel bloated and, I just feel miserable after I eat ramen.
Guys,
Isn't that the point of comfort food, though?
throw a couple dollars together, head to Little Caesars, $5 hot and ready.
Hey,
Think of Taco Bell tacos.
I'm going to tell you why I think I got turned off to ramen, because when we were deployed, like one of the guys, he had ramen all the time. And I'm like, bro, when are you going to have time to boil water to cook that? He said, you don't need to. He used to bang it up, throw in the seasoning, shake it up, and eat it
Like chips.
hard.
We used to do that in middle school.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like what? I'm gonna
you
go
wanted
try
to-
that. I'm gonna try this
If you
weekend.
want
I'm gonna
snack,
go get a
you just
ramen. I'm gonna
barely
try
open
that.
The bag,
Yeah, you barely-
get the seasoning out. You put the seasoning in the bag, and then you shake it up, mash the bag up, and then it's like chips.
Yeah.
I don't do that now.
I'm like,
I bet
well,
now
I know
walk
this
by your
weekend
office
I will
with-
be. I'll ask my daughter, Mija, have you tried this yet? Okay,
Okay.
that's new.
Okay. 14% of Gen Z has posted this unusual content online for clicks and views.
Unusual content.
I'm going with the stereotypical answer, but I think it's right.
Okay, William, what do you got?
Food.
Yeah, I was gonna say food as well.
It's a little more of an action, like falling down.
Close. It is an action.
Ooh, Tammy,
Jessica.
a stunt? Oh man, because they'll
Okay,
do
the only
so
one
many
left.
stunts.
Miss Charlotte. Come on, you got to save the team.
Well, the fact you said 14%, you said it is an action. Oh, God. Some type of sport.
Oh.
Dancing.
14% of Gen Z
That's
have
a good one,
posted
Tammy.
themselves crying
Oh.
specifically for views or clicks.
That's
Well, that's sad.
It is.
That's literally sad. Yeah.
But then the question is are they crying just because they want to cry for clicks and views, or are they genuinely sad?
Well, there is plenty to cry about.
Well, my kids used to practice crying in the mirror, so I'm like, what?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I had heard that one before.
just my kids. Okay.
So, Gen Z
Yes, you did, Cam.
made this 90s toy popular again through the use of TikTok.
Ooh.
This 90s toy is popular again because of TikTok.
I think I know.
All right, William, what do you got?
Is it the little Tamagotchi things? No.
And it's pronounced Tamagotchi.
Oh, pardon me.
Us. Well,
All right, Tammy,
William,
go ahead.
did you get
Is
that?
it the hula hoop?
Oh, I was thinking the hula hoop too.
The hula hoop. Girl, that's from like the 60s. Come on now.
My daughter did it.
She was amazing at it.
All right, let's see Charlotte.
Heelys.
I'm not sure.
I always wanted to pair those, but I don't know how to skate, so I wasn't sure if that correlates with each other.
Well, when you actually use those things, you become like calf strong because you're lifting your toes off the ground the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
But no, that is not the answer. The answer is Furbies.
I was going to say some type of a stuffed
But
animal or something.
what's also
but-
crazy is while I was looking up statistics, there was another statistic that showed that like 20-something% of Gen Zers believe that Furbies are possessed.
I can see that. Yeah, I didn't like toys that could like move on their own. I never did, even as a child. What were they? The Teddy Ruxpins that.
Yeah,
Eyes.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, no.
No,
I remember
no.
vividly as a child, my parents bought me one, and I said, absolutely not.
Do you remember My Buddy?
Yes.
And you remember what happened with my buddy?
Yes.
Yeah, and my brother had my buddy. I didn't sleep for weeks with that thing in the house.
Yeah, I did not.
And
do
then they
that.
came out with Kid Sister. I'm like, come on, can we leave these things alone?
Toys are not supposed to move unless I move them. That's not supposed to happen.
We learned that in Poltergeist when the clown disappears from the chair. Thank you. Okay. All right.
we're
So a survey found, and I have 2 Gen Zers in my house that do this as well. A survey found that 27% of Gen Z have done this while watching TV. And they do it all the time. It's sad.
I think if it's the right answer, it's something that I do too. Unfortunately,
I think he may know it. What do you got, William?
you scroll on your phone, scroll social
no,
media. No, man.
Miss Jessica.
I'll say play video games. Oh, dang it.
What's the question again?
27% of Gen Z do this when watching TV. And they do it. The ones in my house do it every day.
Are they eating?
Yeah, that seems like because y'all do
Talk on the
that.
phone?
They turn on the subtitles even when the show isn't in English.
Okay, well,
Well, I
all
do
right.
that
But
every now
I
and
feel
then. I
attacked.
do.
Once you get past a certain age, you kind of need to do that.
We're talking about Gen Z.
I know.
20-year-old kids.
My daughter does that.
It's okay.
And they have the
don't get it.
volume turned up all the way.
Well, see, for
So
me,
what are you reading if
I
you
was-
can hear it?
I was going to say my phone because sometimes I'll watch something, I'll miss what somebody says because on my phone, then I'll rewind it, get distracted by my phone again, and have to rewind it again.
But what I don't understand
You
is
can just rewind the TV too, though.
So for me, I can't have subtitles on because I find myself reading and not watching
And
the
not
movie.
watching. Right. I can't do
But
both.
these kids, my
they won't read
son
a book.
and his wife both will have on. Okay, I appreciate the nostalgia because they watch Friends. Fantastic, great show. But they turn it up, and then they have the subtitles on. I'm like, what are they saying that you have to read?
Well, see, for me, I grew up watching anime. And so that was a skill you just developed, learning how to read and watch what was happening at the same time. So it just kind of carried over to when I watch even English TV. I need subtitles.
You think maybe they
So
want
it's more of a habit.
Oh, but for me now, I've gotten to a point where I need it because my ears aren't what they used to be. But yeah, it's a habit. But
Everybody out there, William is old.
Are they looking to read the emotions? Like, are they wanting to read the cuss word that was spoken on the television?
I don't know, but I've heard some of the funniest things out of my son having that on. I didn't know that's how you spell that word.
True.
that's true.
Or he'll read the word and he's like, that doesn't sound like, that don't look like it sounds. I'm like, yeah, you're
Or
right.
if I'm watching like a show that's like from the UK, I need subtitles because, the accents, it's a lot.
Okay, that's a little different. When you're in America and it's an English show, why subtitles? I don't get it.
I can't explain it. I
Okay.
just do it.
I'm going to have to ask why my
Okay.
kids do it.
Okay. Gen Z refers to this common Gen X childhood activity as dangerous.
Wait. Yes.
Dangerous?
I think I know.
All right, William, give it a shot.
Is it riding your bike? Oh.
Miss Tammy.
Drinking from a hose.
We all grew. I know I grew up doing
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But how many of us learn real quick? You got to let that thing run for like
Right.
Burn your lips off. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, or you were so high you went to put
But did
water
you
on your
die?
face and then,
Yeah.
or just to make sure there were no spiders hanging out. Yeah. In
We lived on that water
In
hose during
Texas,
summer.
especially, tarantulas would come out. It's kind of,
Absolutely.
Dangerous. We all survived. Well, okay.
yeah, we're stronger for it, right?
Right. I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're worried about plastic coming from Tupperware bowls. What about the plastic coming out of a hose? Okay. 18% of Gen Z says they don't trust this everyday object.
I hope it's not a can opener again. No.
Miss Jessica.
A clock? Because many of them can't even
I'm gonna
read
let
a
you
clock
guys
right
go
now
first
today.
so I don't pick the wrong answer.
Oh, no.
Oh, geez. Thanks, William.
18%.
If you don't have an answer, you don't have an answer. It's perfectly fine.
Excuse me, sorry.
I don't know now.
Okay.
Oh. Is it a watch?
They don't trust hand dryers in the bathroom.
Say that again?
They do not trust hand dryers in the bathroom.
Do you think they're gonna like
Germs all over
take
here.
your money or something?
It's 18%. Don't trust it.
I wonder why.
Huh.
Because it blows more germs, apparently, all over the place, I think is what Mike said.
I
Okay.
heard that.
I guess that makes sense.
All right. So the final question of the game.
So if it's
Okay.
only a hand dryer in the bathroom, what are they doing?
Not washing their
on their
hands.
jeans.
Well, most of them don't wash their
I mean, if you don't trust the hand dryer, you can't wash your hands. That makes sense. That tracks.
Or they.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't count how many people I've seen coming out of the bathroom doing that on their shirt. I'm like, bro. Okay. Don't wipe the goopies on your shirt. Okay. So this is the last question. Gen Z brought this forgotten 80s/90s phrase back into style.
Oh, I'm definitely not going to get this one.
Yeah, there's too many phrases.
Yeah.
No guesses?
What's up?
None? What's up?
That's a good guess.
Later?
Dude.
Okay, William.
All of your guesses are better than anything. I have no idea.
So they brought back the term slay.
That was an old term?
Oh, yeah. Way back in the day.
Oh.
I never said that.
I don't think I
Learn
ever said that
something
either.
new every-
Not that I know what way back in the day is, but I heard.
Girl, weren't you at Jesus'
From older
30th
people.
birthday party?
From older-
Didn't you plan it?
Yeah,
Okay,
Charlotte's our party
so-
planner.
In reviewing the game, it looks like Charlotte had the most points. So today, Charlotte wins a lifetime supply of motivational posters featuring only cats and misspelled words.
Oh, great.
All right. So, does anybody have anything else to add to our conversation today at all?
Well, I would like to just, again, thank you guys for having me. Thank you all for, taking time out of your day to listen and to tune in. Again, I'm with the Career Center here on campus at our central location in Killeen, but we service all CTC students. And, maybe I shouldn't say this, but to be perfectly honest with you, if you walk into my office, you need help with your career search, I'm not going to check your student ID. So if whether you need help with your resume, if you need help with interview tips, if you need help with just looking for a job, we have our own online job board. If you are one of those students that you're still trying to figure out what it is that you want to be when you grow up, we have a career assessment tool that's available to you. If you are struggling to find clothes that still fit, or if you just don't have any professional clothes to go on these interviews, to go to these job fairs with, we do have a career closet here on campus that is available to our students here. And pretty much anything that's involved in your career search, definitely feel free to reach out to me. Our email address is ccenter@ctcd.edu, or you can give us a call at 254-526-1106.
Fantastic. Anybody else?
This was fun. It was such a pleasure. Pleasure having
Absolutely.
you, William.
This was a lot of fun.
Good.
Well, William, I'd certainly like to thank you for your time today. Everybody who's listened into the show, we like to thank you for tuning in. Few takeaways from today. We hope you really enjoyed the show. Start your career planning early. Use your campus resources. Allow us to help you out. Network consistently. Keep your resume up to date. And don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what we're here for. Each and every one of us in the show really care about your success and where you're going. It was Mahatma Gandhi that said, "The future depends on what you do today." We hope that you can find success in your future. We all look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Success Coach is out. Bye-bye.